Hey folks, BlackCross here, and today I'm going to be doing a special New Year's vlog video. As we are celebrating the end of 2022 and looking forward to 2023, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in some people's minds, you know? There's a lot. And I think part of the reason why that's the case is that 2022 was probably an unusual year. I say it's unusual because everyone's got that same feeling, I've noticed. I've had conversation with some of my close friends, my brother, and my family and stuff like that, and we've all got the same feeling. 2022 was an unusual year. Like, nothing bad was wrong. Then again, nothing fantastic was going on. It was just a year. So, it was one of those things where we can't actually say it's been a bad year, but then again, we can't say it's been a great year as well. So, 2022 definitely felt weird, and it's kind of hard to say what it is. Whether it's because it's literally fixing to be the third year that we had to recover from COVID-19, or it could be the fact that we are literally in 2023, and we've gotten slowly a little bit different changes, and it's kind of throwing all of us off. Some of us are adjusting to like inflations and stuff like that. Some of us are adjusting to them somewhat well. Some of us are not adjusting to them as well at all. So it's definitely one of those things where it's been a learning curve. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that 2022 is that shift. That shift in which where we're going to have to learn to accept the changes that are going on right now and just make accommodations to fit them in our lifestyle. And me especially, I've went through kind of a change, really. Like, nothing magnificent or anything dramatic or anything like that, but something that kind of resulted me in finally deciding on something that I've been thinking about for the past couple of years. So for those that are wondering, I work at Walmart. I've been working there for over 6 years now, and it will be 7 years in March. And it's kind of hard to believe that it's been that long, really. It's surprising. And it was one of those things where after my 4-year anniversary, or rather actually my 5-year anniversary, I was just celebrating the fact that I've been there for 5 years. Because the previous 2 jobs that I worked at, I had worked with them for 4 years, and then by the time it got to be the 4th year anniversary, I decided to quit the company sometime during that 4th year. Now, those 2 previous jobs, I had legitimate reasons of why I wanted to quit those jobs and move on to something else. With Walmart, I have a hard time trying to find a legitimate reason for why I should quit the company. I have a hard time trying to find a legitimate reason. Regardless of what anyone might say in terms of like problems or issues that they have with Walmart, at the end of the day, it's a company. And every company is going to react somewhat the same way, which is barely interact with anyone outside their main viewing point at all. So it's one of those things where it's like, we don't have as much control as we would like to. But at the same time, what choice do we have? Because if we left the company, we would have the same problems, if not arguably worse, than what we were in right now. So it's one of those things where, after thinking about it so many times, I've just kind of finally made terms with myself and said, I feel safer working at Walmart these days. And that's kind of hard to believe considering all the drama that Walmart's been getting lately for the past couple of years. But considering the shift that I work 3rd shift, which is of a nighttime, and I only have to deal with customers the first hour of the night and the last hour of the night before I clock out. So that means that of those potentially technically 9, but in terms of scheduled time 8 hours that I work, I only have to put up with 2 hours of customer interaction. And really not much of customer interaction. It's more of a slow fading or a slow opening. So it's one of those things where it's like, I'm glad that we have the ability to where we can just close the store of a nighttime. I know there's a lot of customers who are aggravated and angry, but here's the thing. They don't shop. They just use it as their personal playground, which annoys the heck out of me. You know? It's like, here we are, we work our butts off in order to make the store look good and ready and presentable for other customers, and some customers just see it as one giant playground and just mess with us. It ticks me off, and it definitely ticks me off even more so whenever I see some of these prank videos, and I just... It's one of those things where I'm glad that I've worked in retailing to have a better respect for employees, but even more so, better respect for the employees that I work with. But with that being said, I've had some certain issues and stuff like that that resulted in me kind of reducing my days from working at Walmart. And I won't talk about them. I feel like those things are personally something I need to keep to myself. But at the end of the day, I decided to reduce my days from working 5 days a week to 4 days a week. Now, a lot of people hearing that ideal assumption would say that would hurt in terms of pay. That is true, and I've started to feel that, especially in December. But that's December, where you're going to be spending the most money anyway. For the past couple of years, I thought about it, and I thought to myself, I make way more money than I should. And for the past couple of years, while yes, I've had the money to pay bills and stuff like that, I've wasted more money in terms of spending on other stuff. Now, record, yes, these are more or less towards collectibles and stuff like that. I mean, heck, for the past couple of years, you've probably seen the collectibles that I've been collecting over the years and stuff like that. But at the same time, I've had to kind of tell myself, okay, 2023 is going to be the learning curve for you when it comes to spending money. You've always been good at managing it. Now's the time to put that to the test. And I literally have to calm myself down in terms of spending money and try to control myself. Obviously, that's not going to be an easy task, considering, you know, what 2023 is going to be like and stuff like that. So, yeah. It's going to be a test right there, but I would like to stay in this 4-day work schedule, but who's to say if I can actually stay like that and manage it? You know, I would like to, because I actually kind of, I enjoy it. I enjoy this extra day off, to where I can actually spend time with myself, spend time making videos, and spend an extra day streaming and stuff like that. And for those that don't know, this past year has been great for Twitch streaming. And it's interesting too, because it first started off where I was hopping back into streaming, and it was just me. It was just me and by myself. Then slowly but surely, NBC Mekachu kinda, not to make it sound rude or mean, but kinda mingled into my streaming life. And to be perfectly honest, that's not a bad thing. Because by myself, the streams are not that interactive, they're not that entertaining. To me, I probably would work better if I had somebody to bounce off of. And that is true. That is very much true. It's hard for me to have that interaction just through streaming, you know? So, because of NBC Mekachu, I have been able to make Twitch streaming a little bit better for me. And I think this also helps me as well, because for the past couple of years, I have not had a dedicated streaming schedule, much less streaming in genuine. So it's one of those things where it's like, I didn't have it as good as it should have been. I would do streaming for a little bit, then I would stop for a period, then I would hop back to streaming, then I would stop for a little bit. You see what I mean? And I don't think it's burnout, or at least I don't think it was. But it was just something going on in my mindset at the time, and I wasn't thinking clearly or something, you know? And I needed time to think or whatever, so. Then again, there's also the fact that I've also spent most of that time making other video projects and stuff of that nature. But I have to learn to kind of pace myself so that way I can make the videos that I need to make, instead of trying to think of like 100 videos to make and stuff like that. Because of how well Twitch streaming has went and everything like that, NBC Mekachu kind of convinced me to make another YouTube channel, which is that of BlackCross Stream. Which, by the way, official announcement, I have another YouTube channel by the title of BlackCross Stream, as I just said. You can go there right now, and you can watch all the previous streams that we have had thus far. And thus far, we've only had 2 major streams. There is, of course, the Kingdom Hearts 20th anniversary that is going on right now. Currently, at this time of recording, we are doing Kingdom Hearts Recoded. And that's through emulation, for those that are asking. Aside from that, we're also had one part in which where we did Sly Cooper. I hope to go back and finish that, because it would be kind of weird just to have one part where I played through Sly Cooper and never finished. You know, to me it would be kind of weird. But then of course there's other games. As NBC Mekachu has mentioned, I have a list of games that potentially we could probably go back to, or something like that. Obviously there's Cuphead with the DLC. Hadn't touched that at all, but... And I forgot what else NBC Mekachu was saying as well. We were discussing it because of the fact that at the time that we first, or rather at the time that I first did it, we kind of had like our own little group build up. And so we were thinking about going back and doing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, potentially. Which would probably be really cool considering the fact that Tears of the Kingdom will be coming up soon. I hope to continue streaming, and I hope to continue it really good and really strong. But... we'll see how well that goes. I would like to continue it as it is, because really, in all honesty, hanging out with NBC Mekachu and his friends and stuff like that has been fantastic. And it's sort of interesting because before, I would always think to myself that I should do this by myself. You know, there shouldn't be anybody else. I should be the one making the content for myself. And I've always thought that for a long time. But... you can only do it for so long before you realize that you're not as good as you should be, you know? You're not nearly as good as some of the other Twitch streamers and YouTubers that are out there. Those that have like millions of subscribers and millions of views and stuff like that, so it's hard to kind of compete whenever you have an oversaturated area. So there is, of course, the talk of the PlayStation 2 Legacy. I will eventually get back on track with that, and I think the starting period of getting back on that will be February. Now, of course, obviously, that means that both this month and next month, there won't be a PlayStation 2 Legacy still, but I will be back to it on February, so be on the lookout for that. Now, on the other hand, though, there is, of course, BlackCross Favorite Games. I've kind of left that quiet for a while. I would like to hop back into that eventually. When that will be, I have no clue at this current moment in time, but eventually I would like to kind of add like 1 or 2 extra Let's Plays onto that YouTube channel, and, you know, try to finish off the video games that I have listed as like my all-time favorites and stuff like that. You know, I've said it before, ever since I made my top, top 20 or 25 games that I did? I don't remember all of a sudden, but my top favorites, I wanted to play all of them again and have them available for YouTube and stuff like that, through Let's Plays and all that. I guess that takes care of all the YouTube and media stuff. Let's talk about Twitter. I've mentioned it on Twitter, but I'll probably mention it on YouTube right now. On Twitter, we've had a little bit of a weird fiasco go on, in which where Elon Musk bought Twitter. And there's been a whole bunch of people kind of throwing up in arms and stuff like that. All this other stuff and everything like that. And I don't want to go too deep because even I don't know myself. But there's been a lot of people that was basically saying that Twitter was on the verge of dying. And I just kind of thought to myself and I said, well, if that ever happens, I just won't have an extra social media. I mean, I've got a YouTube channel, I've got a Twitch channel. If you want to know what I'm doing, just go to any one of those 2 platforms. You know, again, my YouTube channel, where I've got the 3 channels, the main channel, which is this, BlackCross Favorite Games, and then BlackCross Streams, and then, of course, on Twitch, of course, if you ever want to check me out and see what I'm doing and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't use Twitter that much anyway, except for the very few times where I have something that I want to show off or whatever, you know, something interesting, something entertaining and stuff. And, of course, the occasional showing off Grover pictures, which has been a while since I've showed off Grover any at all, so. I just kind of said to myself, if Twitter does die, I just won't have another social media platform. And I know that would suck for a lot of people, but here's my reason why. For obvious reasons, of course, I don't post that much except for the update videos that I make, videos that I release on YouTube, when I get onto Twitch streaming and stuff like that, so on and so forth. So really, in all honesty, I don't use it that much anyway. Plus, I don't feel comfortable having to relearn a new social media app. I just don't feel comfortable using a new one, Heck, before, I never even wanted one. If that's crazy enough to understand, because back in my high school years, I was slowly getting informed of how computers work and stuff like that. Like, in terms of, being able to use it. Of course, this was back in 2006, 2007. So that shows you how long it's been since then. But then, of course, a bunch of my friends was telling me to get on MySpace. And I was like, MySpace? Why would I get on MySpace? It was definitely confusing at the time, and I definitely didn't understand why I needed to have a MySpace. But I did. I got me a MySpace for about a couple years. Then, graduation year, I have a whole lot of people asking me if I have a Facebook. And I'm like, what's Facebook? And they were telling me how great it was and stuff like that. Which, to be perfectly honest, was not that great to begin with anyway. So, yeah, I don't know what they were talking. But, it was one of those things where I was like, I got MySpace. And the same people who told me to get a MySpace were like, what's MySpace? And I'm like, you told me to get it a couple years ago. So I was just like, yeah, I went on Facebook, and I hated it ever since because I didn't use it, barely talked to anybody, sadly. It was more or less just to see what they were doing these days, and whenever I thought about it, I'd be like, oh, hey, I wonder what's so-and-so doing. Oh, okay, cool. Stuff like that. But I didn't actually get, information like I did whenever I was on Twitter. To me, Facebook was dead. It was a complete deadbeat horse. It was just dead. So, I don't know why it was so fabulous back then. To me, it just never was used. I rarely ever used it. So, then again, the same way with Twitter, but unlike Facebook, I didn't get on Facebook as much as I got on Twitter. Twitter, I had all sorts of notifications going on and stuff like that. Then again, also too, Twitter was a little bit, Twitter's also been pretty bad at just, introducing you to everything. For me, in particularly, I have a very limited palette, admittedly. Very limited. And every once in a while, Twitter will come up and be like, oh, hey, would you be interested in sports? No, get that away. Would you be interested in cooking shows? I eat enough as it is. Get that out of my sight. Here's a cute puppy. Okay, that's cool. I like that. I won't stop that. Okay, here's a political topic. Okay, you need to stop this now. It keeps introducing me to several new platforms and stuff like that. New subjects and everything like that. And I was like, I don't want any of this. Stop it. 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 It's like I'm training the algorithm on how to not piss me off. If that's a weird way of looking at it. And it is. It is a way to look at it because you see all these different notifications and stuff like that. You're having to check mark all the things that, it needs to know in order to learn how to use it correctly. So that way it doesn't bombard you with everything else that you have no interest in, much less connections with and stuff. And it's one of those things where it's like, I have to manage it a little bit better now. But I feel like that would be the same way if I went on any other social media platform. People were talking about 5 other social media platforms. And even those platforms were saying, we are not capable of managing this many people. Please stop. It's as soon as I saw that, I was like, wow. It is so bad that even other social media platforms that aren't used to having millions of people are like, please stop creating new accounts. We can't take this. Oh, that's funny. I thought that was so funny. But Twitter is not dead yet. Record is a matter of time, but it's still kicking and stuff like that. So long as it's still going, I'll still hang on to my account. So there you go on that. Let's talk about the Video Game Awards ceremony that happened a couple of days ago. Well, it'll be a week now, but it's been a couple of days ago for me. But so the Video Game Awards ceremony. I didn't watch it. Because I knew what it was going to be like. After so many years, you just kind of stop looking forward to it, and you just want to talk about the big news that talks about it, because they have layers and layers of advertisement, and it's more about the reveals than the actual, awards, sadly. And I was just like, you know what, I'm just not going to give it the support that it deserves. I'm just going to wait until everybody talks about their stuff and everything like that, and watch it from there and stuff. And from what it sounds, this year has actually been the best year for the Video Game Awards, which is a shock, really. It's a big shock. I was like, so this would be the year to actually watch it. To be perfectly honest, I would have liked to have watched it because of what all the Game of the Year awards was going to be dedicated to. I had an idea of what Game Awards could be selected, but I was like, okay, this is going to be a little bit of a stretch, but I feel like Elden Ring would win. And to be honest, Elden Ring did win. It won Game of the Year and everything. It also won Best RPG, which makes perfect sense. Elden Ring is that awesome game that everyone has been playing, and it is the Game of the Year. I'm so happy, and I'm happy for the team. I'm happy for Miyazaki. I'm just happy for them in genuine. There was that little bit of a mishap, but we won't talk about it. But yeah, Elden Ring won Game of the Year, and that was great. Of course, then you had God of War Ragnarok that won 10 or so awards in that. One of them being Best Voice Acting, the voice actor for Kratos. That was okay. And then Best Music, okay. So, I mean, they had insane amount of freaking awards going to God of War Ragnarok, and I was like, I get him. But at the same time, holy shit, can we just stop? Can we just stop? And it was one of those things where it's as soon as God of War was released, it then became a dedicated bracket to being Game of the Year. And so my thought process of Elden Ring will get Game of the Year, no doubt about it. Then God of War Ragnarok showed up, and I was like, I'm gonna take a hot take here. Everyone's gonna hate me, for obvious reasons. If God of War Ragnarok wins, it was a paid win. Because their advertisement campaign was crazy for that game. God of War Ragnarok, look up God of War Ragnarok advertisement, and immediately you will be questioning the marketing division for God of War Ragnarok. Because really, in all honesty, I don't know a single person who didn't know about God of War Ragnarok. It was spread of mouth, everyone knew about it, there was no reason to have this big ass fucking advertisement campaign and spending who knows how many millions of dollars. I saw what all they did, and really, in all honesty, even if it was one train station or one game store, the level of detail that they went into for advertising is absolutely insane. You would have to literally do the research yourself, but I can imagine the amount of money that they had to shell out in order to put all of that advertisement on there. Heck, they painted an entire train in God of War Ragnarok advertisement. Just an entire train. And I'm like, how much did that cost them? So it was just one of those things where I was like, holy crap, why this much? No reason to. In fact, I've heard at least 3 separate radio announcement on Walmart radio of them talking about God of War Ragnarok. Now, record is a 20-30 second commercial ad, but the fact that they had it playing 3 times that I can account for, probably even more without me knowing it, but it's what the hell? So their advertisement campaign was crazy this year. But I mean, I wouldn't doubt that it was good. I've heard a lot of people say that it was really good. I liked it, the last God of War, don't get me wrong. It's not going to be as great as the previous God of War games, but it's going to be a separate category of God of War. We've got God of War Greek mythology, and then of course we have God of War Norse mythology. And those two are completely different gameplay experiences altogether. They are essentially the same, but they're also very different. They're different in execution of the game itself. Which isn't bad, it's just, I don't know if I like it or if I prefer the older one better. And I think a lot of people would have mixed opinions on that. But With that being said, God of War Ragnarok definitely would have been a close contender, but Elden Ring won, which makes me happy. So it's one of those things too, where it's like I'm always excited for whenever one of my favorite games that I played this year wins Game of the Year award, especially whenever I actually played it on the year that it got released. You know, I got into Elden Ring not thinking to myself if it was going to be any good or not, and then being overly impressed with the game. Like, I was like, holy crap, they did it. They actually did it. And it was good. It was really good. Just waiting on the DLC. There's also video games that was announced during the Video Game Awards. And there was quite a lot of them. I'm only going to mention the ones that had my interest the most. The first one that I saw announcements for was Hades 2, which blew my mind. As soon as I saw that announcement, I was like, wait, what? What's this Hades 2? What? They actually are making a sequel? Well, hello! If you don't know, I played it, Hades, beaten it all the way, completed it, platinum and all that stuff. That was an incredible roguelike game. Like, as I've stated before, and I'll say it again, there were very few roguelike games that I actually enjoyed. Like, many of them that I tried to play and stuff like that, I couldn't really stick with it for the long haul in order to enjoy it well enough. I either just got impatient or I just felt bored of the entire experience. Hades, on the other hand, kept me entertained the entire time. It's addicting gameplay, unique characters, interactions, so on and so forth. So whenever I say this, I literally mean this. Hades was an impressive roguelike game. And to see this getting a sequel, I'm excited for it. I loved the Hades. I'm looking forward to a sequel. So it's going to be good. It's going to be real good. Armored Core 6. That one shocked me. That one shocked me. Because I didn't think we was going to see a new Armored Core. You know? I mean, I just now am starting to get familiar with the series. With the PlayStation 2 Legacy, of course, and stuff like that. But it's like, its original release on the PlayStation 1. Then it saw a release on PlayStation 2 with several spin-offs. Then on PlayStation 3 with a couple of games. But then PlayStation 4, they've almost skipped an entire console generation of an Armored Core game. Which shocked me, actually, in all honesty. I was like, there's not a single Armored Core game released for the PlayStation 4. Then again, it could be because of the fact that they were busy trying to make the Soul series and stuff like that. So, who's to say, really? But, I'm looking forward to it. I am. Whenever I finally get around to playing it, of course. I still have to play the other Armored Core games. I mean, you don't necessarily have to. It's sort of like the main Final Fantasy series. You don't have to play every single game in the entry in order to get the story or whatever. You just have to understand the concept. It's a mech fighting game. And if you enjoy mech fighting games, you're going to enjoy it regardless. So, I'm looking forward to 6. I am. Whenever it comes out, I'll be looking forward to that especially. Now, of course, we've had this announcement before, but I figure I'll go ahead and talk about it a little bit, and that is Final Fantasy 16. I hope they calm down a little bit on this advertisement campaign, because this is, after all, Square Enix, and Square Enix, for the past couple of game entries, they've spoiled the living heck out of it. You know, there was Final Fantasy 7, then there was Kingdom Hearts 3, then there was The World Ends With You, Neo, and stuff like that. Like, some of the trailer advertisement and stuff like that, they literally spoiled the ending of the game, technically, in a sense. Now, obviously, it steers differently compared to what you visually see, but the impact's still the same. It's still a shock factor, and you would have loved to have that completely silent to where that way you would have enjoyed the ending product, you know? But instead, they literally show that in order to entice players to, hey, come check out this game and see what's going to happen next. And it's like, that was literally towards the end of the game, wasn't it? Why are you showing us this? You know, it's just, it's not like movies and stuff like that where they have like a whole like 2-3 hours just to kind of cram into a 3-minute ad. Video games have like way more stuff going on and stuff like that. They could have easily picked something else and not picked the ending part of it. So I'm hoping they calm down for Final Fantasy 16 case. So I didn't really watch the trailer. I did see, however, though, some of the collector's editions and stuff that they were showing off and everything like that. Like, you have the regular edition, the deluxe edition, the collector's edition. I like the collector's edition. Now, record, it's a full-on statue, and of course, the biggest question that people would be asking me is where would you put it at? I don't know. I just know I like the statue. But then I had to tell myself, it'd be like, let's see how much it's gonna be. You know, I was seeing like some of the Japanese prices and stuff like that, and by calculating it in my head, I was like, okay, if it's at that price, I probably won't get that, because I still need to get a PlayStation 5! Yeah, you kind of need the PlayStation 5 in order to play freaking Final Fantasy 16. Record, yes, eventually we'll see other releases along after the first year and stuff, but it's like, holy shit, I still need to get the PlayStation 5. And then, of course, obviously, I look at the collector's edition, and it's $350, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's gonna be a hard pass, I'm afraid. As much as I hate to say it, but it's true. I have to literally make a hard pass for the collector's edition, because it's either get the collector's edition, but not play the game, or get a PlayStation 5 so that I can play the game. I mean, obviously, they'll do something later on within the next year or two. They'll probably have, like, a Bring Our figure or Play Ar's Kai figure of the main character or something like that, you know. They'll do something, you know. I don't see Square Enix not taking advantage of that. Because, I mean, every Final Fantasy game has had some form of merchandise line for as long as I can think about it. Final Fantasy VIII has had one, Final Fantasy IX, 10, 6... I mean, you can look for yourself and kind of browse through the website and stuff, and they have had some form of merchandise line for every Final Fantasy entry, as far as I know. So, it would not be a surprise factor if they did something else aside from the statue figure, which would be cool. I would be interested in that. But with that being said, I don't know about Final Fantasy 16, you know? Like, it could be because of the fact I'm trying to hold my hype a little bit back to where I could enjoy it better. Or if it's because of the fact I'm a little bit more concerned about how this will be the most uniquely different Final Fantasy games we've ever gotten, you know? Now, admittedly, for the past couple of years, Final Fantasy has not had a strong hitting seller, you know? Regardless of how you think about it, you know? Yes, after 13, you have Final Fantasy 14, which has been a massive, successful MMORPG. Then you have Final Fantasy 15, which, while, yes, it's been a really good game, it's got a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's got a lot of history behind it. And those history has built up to this extreme expectation that hurt the game, for starters. Then you have the fact that they had DLC that was straight up cancelled, that we never got to see the end product of. And then finally, you hear Square Enix basically saying that it never met their expectation, and they've had reports of loss of money due to marketing and stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, no wonder. Did you see the launch marketing that they've had for this game? It's insane. I am looking forward to 16. Yes, I am a little bit concerned, but I'm looking forward to it regardless. So here's hoping that 15, or here's 16. Here's hoping 16 will be good. So that just leaves to what my overall plan for 2023 is going to be. I mean, there's a lot of plans that I have. But I think my main focus, my main plan is mostly to concentrate on content creation and a few other things as well. The first thing that I want to try to concentrate on is eventually finally get the PlayStation 5. You know, finally get the PlayStation 5. I think now is the perfect time to get it, especially in 2023. I've mentioned it in a previous video, but I'll mention it again. Getting a PlayStation 5 in 2023 makes the most sense. It will be worth it in 2023. And then looking forward from there. So, hopefully, I will eventually be able to buy myself a PlayStation 5, especially since they are now regularly available in stores. About a week ago, I actually saw it regularly stocked at my Walmart that I worked at. So, that tells you that, yeah, we are seeing them regularly on shelf. And there's been a lot of people talking about it as well. The fact that now you can actually buy one on shelves instead of having to go to online, go through all these hurdles and stuff like that to try to get the darn thing. Now you can actually purchase it off the store shelf without any extra hurdles and stuff like that. You know? And that's the most impressive thing to see, is that you can actually get it now. Finally. And this is looking at the physical version, not the digital only system. This is looking at the disc version. So that's really cool to see. The fact that, yeah, it's on the shelf. We can buy it. So whenever it's available and whenever I have the money available, I will definitely be getting myself a PlayStation 5. My goal is to get it before June. Who's to say if I can make that? But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Secondly, and I don't see this happening this year, but I would like to build me a new PC. This PC is good on its own, but I'm starting to feel the chug. You know, like I'm starting to feel it chugging a little bit. It's starting to suffer a little bit and stuff like that. And performance-wise, it could be better. So obviously a new PC is in order. But this time I know how to build it. Technically, I didn't really build this one. My best friend, built it for me. But I think this time I can actually build the PC now that I have a little bit more knowledge of what all I need to do. From watching a lot of Linus Tech Tips and other YouTube channels that specializes in PC builds and stuff like that, I have a better knowledge and idea of what goes on and stuff like that. And thanks to Linus Tech Tip, I now have a better criteria list of what parts and components I need to dedicate towards when it comes to building my PC. So with that information, I do plan on building me a new PC, but it's going to be very costly. Yes, it's going to be very costly. Probably going to be some of the more expensive thing I've done. I've done a lot of expensive stuff, but nothing compared to like a single system costing probably anywhere close to $1,200 to $1,500. That's my estimate guess. I don't know. I'll have to go through part picker and stuff like that and kind of see what all parts are available and how much they would cost and stuff like that, and just kind of get the blueprint plan built up and everything. So, but the main thing that I want to do, and I don't see it happening, but I want it. Like, I want that to happen so badly right now. I want to actually make it to that goal. How? Obviously, I just gotta work hard on it and stuff like that, but I want to eventually see my subscriber count number double what it looks like. I want it to be at least remotely close to 500 subscribers. That's hard to do, because last year we was barely at 200. You know, we were barely at 200. We were sitting at 190 for a while, and then after the new year and everything like that, a couple weeks later, we finally got 200 subscribers on this channel. And we are right now, as of the time of this recording, at 245 subscribers. I don't know how I can get any further in the year to get that many subscribers. That's like getting 1 subscriber per day when you think about it. You know, to get that number, to have a total of 500, to get from 245 to 500, that's going to take quite a work. But I want to eventually see that happen. Whether or not I'll get there, I don't know, but I would like to. That's like my personal goal for next year, is to get 500 subscribers. The easiest one will be getting the PlayStation 5, but getting to 500 subscribers is going to be a little bit of a challenge for me, admittedly. Once again, I'm not going to do another bucket list game, but I probably will briefly mention games that I'm wanting to play for next year, at the very least. There's actually a handful of games that I'm obviously wanting to play. Obviously, there's the games that I want to play when I finally get the PlayStation 5. Like, there's Demon's Souls Remake, there's Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and then, of course, the aforementioned Final Fantasy 16. But I do have a couple games that I do have just now that I'm wanting to play. These are currently the games that I've got lined up right now for 2023 at the very least, maybe 2022 before the end of the year. Like, at least one of them I can probably play through and beat it before the end of 2022, like obviously right before New Year's and stuff like that. Like I'll have a review ready probably by 2023, but I will have started literally this year probably, like literally the last week of December, obviously. And that is Stray. I finally got the physical copy. I've wanted to get the physical copy. I am very interested in this game. It looks like it's going to be a fun one. It looks like it's going to be a really unique experience for me. And I wanted to play this so badly. But for a long time, it's only been digital. And if I know it's going to have a physical game, I'm going to try to get the physical. Record, I don't do that all the time, but sometimes I do try to wait it out a little bit as long as I can. And sure enough, Stray for PS4, finally got it. It does exist! It does exist! It's not just a PS5 exclusive title, it does exist on PS4! Finally got it. It took forever for it to get in, but finally got it! So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing Stray. There is also another game that I have for PlayStation 4, and it's one that I've had for about... I want to say I've got this like a year ago. Obviously, during the time that it was released and stuff like that, but I hadn't had a chance to play it. And that is The World Ends With You, Neo. Or Neo, The World Ends With You. I've heard so many good things about this one. And as a fan of the original World Ends With You, I'm looking forward to playing this. So I can't wait to touch up on it and stuff like that. Finally played and everything like that. And I've got that lined up for 2022, or 2023 specifically. Then I've got Pokemon Legends Arceus. I know a lot of people will be asking, well, what about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? I don't have the games, but due to the reception that it's been getting lately, I feel like it would be wise to have a better experience with that game if I just wait for it. You know, wait for it to have better updates to where the game will perform a little bit better. Obviously, my biggest concern is the performance issues, because I've heard a lot of them. The glitches don't bother me as much, because those glitches I don't think are going to happen nearly as badly as people make it out to be. My biggest thing is going to be the performance issue, because yes, the Switch is not a powerful system. We can all admit that. It's not a powerful system, but it's a pretty good system on its own. But, ooh, when I saw the performance issues that it was having, I was like, ooh, having a little bit doubts on that one. And which is a shame too, because at first I wasn't as hyped for Scarlet and Violet, and now after its release I actually want to play it. I've heard so many things from NBC Megachu and Ren in them, but it's like I want to wait a little bit until they fix the performance issues. Once the performance issues are resolved and stuff like that, I may eventually buy into getting Scarlet. But for the time being right now, I'm just going to wait it out and play through Legends Arceus. Because, again, when I first saw advertisement for this one, I was so excited for this one. Never got around to pick it up. Just picked it up recently and everything. So, I'm looking forward to getting into this one. So, hopefully it'll be good. Now, for the record, this isn't a brand new title, unlike the other games that I've talked about recently. But this one, I've heard so many good things about this one, and the weird thing is, I didn't even know Delmar had it. Delmar usually goes through his collection and stuff like that, you know, and from time to time, he tends to find stuff that he's like, yeah, I'm probably not going to play this, I'm not going to play this and stuff like that. And I usually look through it to see if there's a game that I may want or whatever and stuff like that. And we usually do that. We do that a lot. If there's a game that we're trading in and stuff like that, we'll ask the other person if they might be interested in the title and stuff, which chances are they usually are. But this one I saw and I was like, you had this? And he's like, yeah, just never played it. And I'm like, can I have it? And he's like, sure. So, The Last Story for Wii. Now, surprisingly, I've heard a lot of people praise this game for the past year. Like earlier this year, I've heard a lot of people talking about this game. And I knew about it, but I didn't hear a lot of people talk about it until this year. Like, you know, there are some games that do get a second life, technically. There are some games that do get a second life out of it and stuff like that. And I do want to play this game. It does look like it'd be really good. Look like it'd be really fun. I mean, it's made by the same people who did the No More Heroes franchise and stuff like that. So, it's got to be potentially good, I imagine. I'm looking forward to trying all of them. Obviously, there's still other games like Ni no Kuni 2, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, that I still need to play. Then there's the aforementioned Yakuza series that I would like to hop into before the new one comes out. I've only played through Zero, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed my experience with Zero, and I would like to eventually hop into the other Yakuza games. It's obviously going to be time, because holy shit, how many games are there now? 7? Aside from Zero? 7? And now we got an 8th one? I think they've announced that they're going to be working on another one after this one as well. So it's like, holy crap. So, but yeah. Anyway, guys, that's all the details that I have that I wanted to talk about for this year and going on to the new year and stuff like that. I know this is a little bit lengthy vlog video. There was just a lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about and actually mention and stuff like that. And really, in all honesty, I felt like just making it all in one video. Instead of making several videos and stuff like that, just make it all one video. That way you can get all the details and stuff like that of what I'm thinking about and stuff. And, yeah, that's it. But so, technically, this is being made before Christmas, but I will release this after Christmas, obviously. So, have a good holiday, Happy New Year, and I shall see you at 2023. So thank you so much for watching. See you later.